for these vignettes to come out on a weekly basis. You'll start to fall in love with the depth of the characters. That's something that you learn week to week. That's their personalities will unfold, their relationships will unfold for you, their backstories. None of that is something you can get in a tiny little slice of it. But that's a start. There's something there. So I'm glad folks watched it. I'm glad they participated, and I can't wait for them to see more, to see everything that is there.
What the hell is even that?
Oftentimes the internet gets really obsessive with, the state of Xbox, and rightfully so. But the vast majority of media just outright ignores the current state of PlayStation, pretending like it's any better. It really isn't.
It's being called the biggest f***ing waste of your hard-earned money to come along in years. Sony's new stupid box thing hit the shelves at crowded malls and overpriced electronics stores around the country today.
If I was a PlayStation owner right now, I would be telling myself this is the worst PlayStation generation ever. People said the PS3 was a low point. I disagree. Right now, PlayStation is the most desperate they have ever been to have exclusive content. Whatever little exclusive content they do have is cross-gen, thus rendering the PS5 almost completely useless. The best games to come out this generation are all multi-plat.
You're laughing now and you're booing because you know it's true.
Not even those are safe anymore. You see, Sony's approach has changed quite drastically. Instead of games being exclusive now, there's going to be exclusive content, which in the long run may actually be a genius business move for PlayStation, but a one for consumers who will not benefit. Before we even get to talking about Concord and the horrendous shilling going on there, we gotta talk about how Sony is now locking cutscenes as exclusive content for multi-plat games.
Sega has confirmed on its official game page for Sonic X Shadow Generations that the Dark Beginnings prologue animation will be exclusive to the PS4 and PS5 editions of the game.
Great. Like, I want to give you the choice on how you play your games and who you play with, and not try to do slimy platform things to force you to do what I want you to do. Give the players choice.
I don't know what to tell you, Sony, but you ain't beating them allegations about prioritizing cinematics. My God, we now have entire prologue cutscenes being locked behind the console you purchased for a multi-plat game. How insanely stupid is that? I don't know how much Sega is getting from Sony. I'm not sure why the cutscene itself was prioritized, because any jackass can just log on to YouTube and watch what they didn't pay for, thus making it one of the most pointless pieces of exclusive content. But that's how ridiculously thirsty Sony is to have exclusive content, outright locking prologue cutscenes off other platforms. Oh my God.
I love bullshit like this. I'll buy any goddamn thing that I see in an ad.
I have never seen Sony in such a sad state before. Of all the things one could lock away as exclusive, you wouldn't figure prologue animations would be one. But I guess over there at Sony headquarters, they felt it would be advantageous for them, and it very well might be. Who knows? I'm gonna buy this game, but knowing that they've basically taken out the prologue entirely for those who aren't playing on PlayStation, you feel like you should be charged less. What kind of bullshit is this? Within minutes of the game's release, that quote-unquote exclusive content will be available all across YouTube, thus rendering the exclusivity completely pointless. It's not something you can play, thank God, but at the same time, it's very head-scratching. There's no information on whether Sony paid for it, but the obvious is the obvious. Why would it be there only for PlayStation and not the other platforms? Of course, some financial incentive was involved, and we could be looking at a glimpse into the future of exclusive content. Rather than having exclusive games themselves on several platforms will have exclusive cutscenes, exclusive animations, exclusive skins. It's not new, but it could become a lot more prevalent. A completely bizarre decision that makes absolutely no sense, but for those of you who are going to play this, just understand you're gonna have to log on to YouTube if you want to see what you're missing. So you can thank Sony for that. Odd decision, but not as crazy as the amount of marketing and the amount of checks Sony has sent out to gaming journalists to promote and cap the abysmal looking Overwatch clone known as Concord.
Burner. They want to have a way to keep having their fan base log in and play stuff and keep buying microtransactions. Now they have released statements that apparently all the microtransactions, every character is unlocked, everything. Microtransactions are purely for cosmetic, but I'm at the point where that to me no longer feels like a W. Like, okay, I'm glad you're not scamming us as hard, but I don't know. This just seems like, honestly, this just seems terrible. And I'm so curious to play it for myself. Maybe it will win me over, but man, the more we see of it, the more it just seems like this is going to be such an expensive failure for PlayStation. And I think everybody knows that already.
Seconds of that reveal. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I truly believe that we might be witness to the pinnacle of AAA slap. A shining example of everything that is currently wrong with the industry.
And well, as you could imagine, this journalist wet dream of a game is going over well with journalists.
Don't sleep on us. Sony's new 5v5 hero shooter got a muted response at the last state of play, but we've played it and think it has real potential. Concord's director of IP, Kim Queens, stated that the trailer is just a tiny slice of the game, and that they'll expand on the characters, story, and lore. The lead character designer believes that they'll win players over with the gameplay. Hearing some great things about Concord after reviewers got to play the game.
I don't trust like that.
Last week, I traveled to PlayStation's global HQ to play Concord on PS5 and speak with Firewalk Studios. I'm not normally into live services, but I was pleasantly surprised by how approachable Concord is. First look, PlayStation's Concord is breaking you ground in how live service games tell stories. After playing Concord for a few hours, we're excited for more of the action, which feels like a mix of Destiny and Overwatch, even if we're wary of the team's emphasis on lore and storytelling paying off in a multiplayer-only game. Concord, the big preview. I've spent 3 hours with Concord. Don't make your mind up on it just yet. Destiny shooting with an all-new approach to storytelling for live service titles.
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
It's like they were all handed over the same script. The only difference was the amount and the checks that cleared. I'm sorry, but with how gaming journalism has been misleading consumers for a long time now, I'm gonna say this is all a cap and very repetitive mantra. My eyes and my ears don't deceive me. I mean, just take a look at whatever the hell this thing is. This giant blue land whale of a character. These are some of the worst character designs I have ever seen. They are uninspiring, not interesting in the slightest, and don't look badass at all. And they're supposed to be the faces that will carry the game. Like, who in the world is playing Concord thinking to themselves, oh yeah, I want to lock all the skins for all of these pronoun-based characters. And the gay robot, I want skins for the gay robot. No, nobody is. It really, honest to God, just feels like a lot of these journalists are holding back on what they truly feel about this game. They gotta play it nice, otherwise how else are they ever going to get access to things ahead of time from dear old PlayStation, who has no problem blacklisting them if they tell you the truth about how they feel about these products? From what I've been able to gather, most, if not all, of these journalists who have put up videos with an early preview, they barely have a single nice thing to say, other than, well, you know, it's got potentials, you know, it's got balancing issues, it's only got 5 maps, all the characters are unappealing, but that's okay. It's only $40 and it should be free to play. But don't let the pronouns distract you. What's here is, it's a game. Okay. Fine, let's Let's give one of these journalist sites a chance to prove to us they're not just paid shills. Please enlighten us. Tell us what is so groundbreaking about how Concord wants to tell its story in a live service format.
There's so much that we can do in a shape of a character, I'll call it environmental storytelling on a character. There's so many ways, and we have brilliantly amazing art teams from the concept art all the way down. And the kinds of storytelling that we can put on the shape of any character, it's incredible. The ideas that our artists come up with to help represent some of the backstories, the ideas that our artists come up with that feed into the backstories, just like John was saying. That's what's so cool about this process is neither gameplay nor narrative nor art drives. We all steer together and we find each idea influences the whole. So it is very iterative, it's very building, it's very layered. And so, yeah, we can add a lot of personality through where they dress, what accessories they're wearing, what color their skin is.
Yeah.
What color their skin is.
Yeah, well, oddly enough, well, maybe you should stop feeding one of those characters. I mean, look at this thing. It looks like goddamn Ian Miles Chung. This character is ugly. This is not an appealing character. Oh, don't you love it, though? One of the highlights is skin color, character shape. This is the most DEI-ridden thing I've seen in quite some time. Absolutely. 100% untouchable. I will not be trying this out. There's nothing groundbreaking here. This is just the same tired formula that's been going on for live service games that try to incorporate a story. It's very difficult to balance those two things out, story and live service aspects. Why? Because all the characters are usually a blank slate when they start, and if you have to continuously wait for content to come and update and flesh out these characters, you're not going to care by the time it happens. I mean, I kind of feel bad because they are very excited about their project. They really think people are going to be attached to these characters. But if we're being real, nobody is going to think twice about them or remember them. This isn't going to be your next Tracer or your next Winston. It ain't gonna be your next Master Chief. It's going to be a forgettable Guardians-esque looking game. I'm trying to pinpoint a time in gaming history where gamers all of a sudden started saying to themselves, I don't want to play attractive, muscular, in shape, badass looking characters. I want characters that resemble the ugliness of our real world. When you pop in Street Fighter, nearly every single character you play as is memorable, iconic, stands the test of time through their design. All the characters here look like a product of their time versus being a timeless design. They are unappealing, and I highly doubt any player is going to be attached. Character design goes a long way, and none of these look good. I mean, who's gonna choose this over Valorant when it comes to consoles? No, seriously, who? All these journalists know it's dead on arrival. They all know none of the characters are interesting. They know it should be free to play. They know it doesn't stand a chance, and yet they all still shill. Thankfully, the monetization is probably like the only thing that's not that gross about the game. It's just all cosmetics. But what exactly would make people go, yes, I want that outfit for that character? I find atrocious. The journalists are trying their absolute hardest to sell you on this, and yet all the comment section are people calling them out on their bullshit, knowing exactly what the product is and what Sony's goal is. I mean, if you're going to make live service games, can you please, for the love of God, Sony, take another approach like you did with Helldivers 2. Have something that actually looks like it has potential and could be very popular. What we have here looks like the next studio closure. Not really sure what Sony's whole goal is here. The exclusive content that they do, well, quote unquote, exclusive content that they're getting their hands on seems so pointless, so unappealing, so dead on arrival. I just don't understand how there is anything a PlayStation user can look forward to now. But if this is one of the things you're looking forward to and exclusive cutscenes for a video game, then ponies have completely lost the narrative. Anyways, I'm gonna go cleanse my eyes of this. So like, comment, share, subscribe if you so choose to. We are on the verge of 73,000 subscribers. Please make it happen. With that being said, see you in the next one.
Free Congo sucks ass.